If you notice the names of the streets, they named all the streets for people who they thought helped to free them from slavery.
Wade Road, that's his own street. Stevenson, Summerville.
So Charles Sumner was a senator from Massachusetts and was very outspoken about abolishing slavery and not expanding slavery, right? So Sumner's delivering his speech to the Senate, and some sources say that he made some very, direct, demeaning remarks to Andrew Butler, the senator from South Carolina, right? So Butler's nephew, Preston Brooks, who was a representative in the House for South Carolina, gets pissed off and runs up to Sumner's Senate desk, pulls out a cane, and beats him down in the middle of the Senate hearing.
In 1927, I did the research. I went back to the Library of Congress. They opened up that road, and that road had a number of very, very interesting people on. I think I mentioned Ulysses Shelton. Ulysses Shelton.
Right.
He was the 1949 Harvard scholarship student who went on to be the head of Head Start and self-help.
And he was from.
He was at Elvin's Road.
Elvin's Road.
Elvin's Road.
Right, Berry Farm. Right. That was Berry Farm.
Yeah, there's one in particular. There's a man who's deceased now, James G. Banks. Banks grew up. His family was from Berry Farms. He grew up in Berry Farms. He was a member, as growing up, of a church group that they would do debates on political topics, current events topics, and then they would have Bible study. So this was a church group that involved the community in educational pursuits, developments of the mind, and this is a stark contrast to the media view or interpretation or stereotype of Berry Farms or of an all-black community.
But the most important thing I learned is that Frederick Douglass Patterson lived on this, when you go up the hill, right next to, you know where Moton School is?
Yeah.
Right across the street. You can even still see the foundation of the house. I went up there. Frederick Douglass Patterson was born there. His parents were good friends with Frederick Douglass. That's how he got the name.
Okay.
And they died when he was 2 years old of tuberculosis. Both parents died. And an older sister took him to Prairie View, Texas. And he really was educated in Texas, and then later became the third president of Tuskegee University.
We must understand that Uniontown, under the Uniontown Land Development Company, and other people like John Van Hook, who initially had the house that we call Cedar Hill today, intended for Uniontown to be a white working class suburb. And originally written into the charter of Uniontown was a provision that no Negroes, no mulattoes, no pigs, and no soap boiling. So, I mean, that's clear. They did not intend and did not seek to have blacks anywhere in that immediate vicinity.
Frederick Douglass became one of the first persons to actually buy property within, within this community.
Y'all know Howard Road right there by the Metro, right? Y'all know who that's named after? General Howard.
General Howard was appointed to be in charge of what became known as the Freedmen's Bureau by President Abraham Lincoln before Lincoln was assassinated. Howard was in charge of the Freedmen's Bureau, and the job of the Freedmen's Bureau was to put people back on the land who had been displaced during the war, and also to educate the newly freed men and women.
So Howard can be credited with spearheading that in in the face of racism.
Howard even made arrangements for lumber to be brought in. And so a community began to take shape. And a rural community that is primarily African American, that within a few years is going to make itself known as a place of industry, a place of great spirituality. It is a beacon and anchor of self-reliance and a desire for education.